It's 11 at night, and your child is calling for you, crying. You ask what's wrong, and between sobs, they tell you there's something behind the door, something you can't see. You hold them, you try to calm them down, you tell them there's nothing there. But somewhere in the back of your mind, just for a second, a small voice wonders, what if they actually can see something? Take a breath. What your child is experiencing has a name, a scientific explanation, and most importantly, a solution. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why this happens and what you can actually do to help them. The explosion of the inner world. Have you ever noticed how around age 4, your child's play becomes incredibly complex? That's because their imagination is finally switched on in a powerful way, but they haven't yet learned how to tell the difference between fantasy and reality. To a 4-year-old, a monster under the bed isn't just a scary thought, it's a real physical possibility. This is an ancestral emotion, a survival mechanism that has protected humans for thousands of years. When they're separated from you or when the lights go out, their brain sounds a natural alarm because they feel completely defenseless. If you brush it off or tell them there's nothing there, you're not just dismissing a fear, you're telling their survival instinct that it can't trust its own signals. The "it's not real" trap. Here's something that might actually surprise you. When you try to convince your child there are no monsters by checking the closet every single night, you might be doing the opposite of what you intend. You might be making those monsters more believable. Think about it from their perspective. If there's truly nothing there, why does mom or dad have to check every night? Your child starts to wonder, are they looking because they're scared too? Instead of proving the room is safe, you're reinforcing the idea that the room could be dangerous. This is where most parents get stuck in a cycle of endless bedtime negotiations. 1 more glass of water, 5 more minutes of light, which actually prevents the child from learning the most important skill of all, self-regulation. The key to helping your child move past this fear is an invisible skill called self-regulation. It's the ability to process and manage emotions in a healthy way without needing someone else to do it for them. Most adults do this automatically. We tell ourselves, it's just a shadow, I'm safe. But for a child, this takes time and space to learn. And that means, as hard as it is, we have to get comfortable letting our kids sit with a little discomfort while they figure things out. If you always rush in to soothe them the moment they feel a spark of fear, they never get the chance to practice being brave. Our job is to give them the scaffolding they need to stand on their own, not to carry them indefinitely. Espanto, the weight of emotional shock. In many Latin American cultures, a sudden and intense fear that changes a child's behavior has long been known as espanto or susto, roughly translated as a fright that takes hold of the mind and spirit. It's described as a loss of inner energy, something that throws the child's emotional world off balance. And while modern medicine looks at this through the lens of the nervous system and cortisol levels, the symptoms are strikingly similar. Loss of appetite, pale skin, crying for no apparent reason, waking up startled in the middle of the night. Whether you see this as a cultural concept or a biological stress response, the message is the same. Your child has had a deep emotional impact that has shaken their inner world. They're not being difficult. They are genuinely overwhelmed, physically and emotionally. Validate the feeling, then move forward. So, how do you actually help without making the problem bigger? The most powerful thing you can do is validate their feeling immediately. Instead of saying, "That's not scary," try saying, "Wow, it sounds like you got really frightened." That simple shift tells them you're on their side and that their feelings make sense. But here's the key. You have to move on quickly. The longer you dwell on the scary thing, the more power it gains. Once you've acknowledged the fear, shift the conversation towards what I call the brave plan. Ask specific questions like, what exactly makes the dark feel scary to you? This helps them put words to the feeling, and putting words to fear is one of the first steps to shrinking it. The brave plan and rituals. Kids thrive on structure and symbols. If they're terrified of monsters, give them imaginative tools to fight back. You can make a monster spray, just a small bottle of water with a fun, official-looking label that they can use to make their space feel safe. Or use the power of play to gently desensitize them. Play doctor to help them prepare for shots, or hide and seek to ease separation anxiety. When kids act out their fears in a safe and playful way, those fears become smaller and more manageable. You can also set gradual goals. If they can't sleep alone yet, agree to sit by their bed the first night, then just outside the door the next, slowly building their confidence night by night until they realize they're okay. When to see a pediatrician. Now, I want to pause for a moment to talk about something many parents quietly wonder but don't always say out loud. How do I know when what my child is going through is more than just a phase? If the fears are frequent, very intense, or if you notice they started right after watching a scary movie, a YouTube video, or even hearing a frightening story at school, the best thing you can do is bring it up with your pediatrician at your next visit. Your pediatrician can rule out physical causes like sleep disorders or attention issues, and can also refer you to a child psychologist if they feel it's needed. Don't wait for the fear to become a long-term pattern. Asking for help early isn't overreacting, it's exactly what a thoughtful, caring parent does. The red flags you can't ignore. Most childhood fears are a completely normal and healthy part of growing up, but if you notice that the terror is starting to interfere with their daily life, it might be something more. Watch for obsessive worrying, when they talk about the fear even when the trigger isn't anywhere in sight, or if they start refusing to do things they used to enjoy. Physical symptoms like recurring stomach aches, headaches, or a racing heart are also signs that the anxiety has become too heavy for them to carry on their own. And if the fear is paralyzing them or causing regressions, like a fully potty-trained child suddenly having accidents again, it's time to seek professional support before it becomes a chronic pattern. The impact of screens and digital content. We live in a world where children have access to screens from a very young age, and this is something we simply cannot ignore. A horror movie that an adult watches without a second thought can leave a deep mark on the nervous system of a 5 or 6-year-old, a child whose brain, as we've seen, still can't fully distinguish between fiction and reality. The same goes for certain YouTube videos, social media reels, or video games with violent or suspenseful scenes. This isn't about banning all screens or raising children in a bubble. It's about being present with them. If your child saw something that scared them, sit down with them, ask what they watched, how it made them feel, and explain calmly how those special effects are made. Showing them the trick behind the scare is often enough to take away its power. And if you haven't already, now is a great time to review the parental controls on their devices together. Your calm is their anchor. Finally, remember this. Your child is a mirror of your own emotions. If they see you panicking or becoming overly anxious about their fear, they'll take that as confirmation that there really is something to be terrified of. We have to be the model of a calm, grounded response. When you stay steady and consistent, you're sending them a message that says, I see that you're scared, and I also know that you are safe, and I know you can handle this. That nightly ritual of checking for monsters or asking for one more hug isn't just a 4-year-old being clingy, it's a trust test. They're checking to see whether you are a stable anchor in the middle of their storm. If this perspective helps you understand your child just a little bit better, hit that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more parents who are doing their best to navigate these emotional waves. And remember, those moments of terror are not a sign that you're failing as a parent or that your child is weak. They are a sign that your child is growing, their mind is expanding, and they are reaching out for the scaffolding they need to become brave. Stay patient, stay consistent, and let them know that even though the world can be big and loud, they have everything they need inside them to face it.